Before the heinous murder that would shock Los Angeles, Elizabeth Short lived an unassuming life. On January 9, 1947, she returned to her home in Los Angeles after a short trip to San Diego with Robert Red Manley, a 25-year-old married salesman she had been dating. Manley claimed to have dropped Short off at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, where she was to meet her sister, visiting from Boston. According to some accounts, Biltmore staff saw Short using the lobby telephone. Later, patrons at the Crown Grill Cocktail Lounge, located at 754 South Olive Street, allegedly spotted her about 38 Mile, 600 M, away from the Biltmore. The chilling discovery of Short's mutilated body came on the morning of January 15, 1947. Her naked, severed remains were found in a vacant lot on the west side of South Norton Avenue, between Coliseum Street and West 39th Street, in the undeveloped Limert Park neighborhood. Local resident Betty Bersinger made the gruesome discovery while walking with her 3-year-old daughter, initially mistaking the body for a discarded store mannequin. Upon realizing it was a corpse, she rushed to a nearby house and called the police. The grisly state of Short's body left investigators and the public horrified. Her body was entirely severed at the waist and drained of blood, leaving her skin an eerie, pallid white. Medical examiners determined she had been dead for around 10 hours before her discovery, placing her time of death during the evening of January 14th or the early morning hours of January 15th. The killer had apparently washed her body before posing her with her hands over her head, her elbows bent at right angles, and her legs spread apart. Short's face bore slashes from the corners of her mouth to her ears, creating the haunting Glasgow smile. Her thigh and breasts had several cuts, with portions of flesh sliced away. The lower half of her body was positioned a foot away from the upper half, with her intestines tucked neatly beneath her buttocks. As news of the discovery spread, a crowd of passers-by and reporters gathered at the scene. Los Angeles Herald-Express reporter Aggie Underwood was among the first to arrive, taking several photos of the corpse and crime scene. Detectives found a heel print on the ground among tire tracks and a cement sack containing watery blood nearby. On January 16, 1947, an autopsy was performed on Short's body by Los Angeles County Coroner Frederick Newbar. He noted that Short was 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighed 115 pounds, and had light blue eyes, brown hair, and badly decayed teeth. Ligature marks were present on her ankles, wrists, and neck, as well as an irregular laceration with superficial tissue loss on her right breast. The autopsy revealed superficial lacerations on her right forearm, left upper arm, and the lower left side of her chest. Short's body had been cut completely in half using a technique known as hemicorporectomy, taught in the 1930s. The lower half of her body was removed by transecting the lumbar spine between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, severing the intestine at the duodenum. The autopsy report noted very little bruising along the incision line, suggesting it had been performed after death. The cause of death was determined to be hemorrhaging from facial lacerations and shock from blows to the head and face. Her anal canal was dilated, suggesting she might have been raped, but sperm samples came back negative. Short was identified after her fingerprints were sent to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, via sound photo, a device that transmitted images by telephone and was typically used for news photographs. Short's fingerprints were on file from her 1943 arrest. Following her identification, reporters from William Randolph Hearst's Los Angeles Examiner contacted her mother, Phoebe Short, in Boston. They deceitfully told her that her daughter had won a beauty contest. After extracting as much personal information as they could from Phoebe, the reporters revealed that her daughter had actually been murdered. The newspaper offered to pay for her airfare and accommodations if she traveled to Los Angeles to assist with the police investigation. However, this was another ruse, as the newspaper kept her away from police and other reporters to protect its exclusive story. The Examiner and another Hearst newspaper, the Los Angeles Herald-Express, sensationalized the case. An article from the Examiner described the black tailored suit Short was last seen wearing as a tight skirt and a sheer blouse. The media dubbed her the Black Dahlia, portraying her as an adventuress who prowled Hollywood Boulevard. Additional newspaper reports, such as one published in the Los Angeles Times on January 17th, deemed the murder a sex fiend slaying. The brutal murder of Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, captivated the nation, and the case remains unsolved to this day. The gruesome details, the mysterious circumstances surrounding her death, and the extensive media coverage fueled public fascination with the case, turning it into one of the most notorious unsolved murders in American history. On January 21, 1947, an individual claiming to be Short's killer made a chilling phone call to James Richardson, the editor of the Examiner. The caller congratulated Richardson on the newspaper's coverage of the case and claimed that they planned on turning themselves in eventually. However, they wanted the police to chase them a little longer. Eerily, the caller also told Richardson to expect some souvenirs of Beth Short in the mail. 3 days later, on January 24th, a U.S. Postal Service worker discovered a suspicious manila envelope. The envelope was addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers. Individual words had been cut and pasted from newspaper clippings, while a large message on the envelope's face ominously read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow." The envelope contained Short's birth certificate, business cards, photographs, names written on pieces of paper, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover. The packet had been meticulously cleaned with gasoline, much like Short's body, leading police to suspect it had been sent by her killer. Despite the thorough cleaning, authorities managed to lift several partial fingerprints from the envelope. Unfortunately, the prints were compromised in transit, rendering them useless for analysis. On the same day the packet arrived at the Examiner, a handbag and black suede shoe were found atop a garbage can in an alley not far from Norton Avenue, just 2 miles from where Short's body had been discovered. These items too had been wiped clean with gasoline, eradicating any potential fingerprints. A few weeks later, on March 14th, a cryptic suicide note was discovered, scrawled in pencil on a scrap of paper and tucked in a shoe amidst a pile of men's clothing by the ocean's edge at the foot of Breeze Ave, Venice. The note read, "To whom it may concern, I have waited for the police to capture me for the Black Dahlia killing, but have not. I am too much of a coward to turn myself in, so this is the best way out for me. I couldn't help myself for that, or this. Sorry, Mary." The enigmatic message further deepened the mystery surrounding Short's murder, with no clear indication of the author's identity. Police deemed Mark Hansen, the owner of the address book found in the packet, a suspect. Hansen was a wealthy nightclub and theater owner, and an acquaintance with whom Short had stayed. According to some sources, he confirmed that the purse and shoe discovered in the alley were Short's possessions. Ann Toth, Short's friend and roommate, informed investigators that Short had recently rejected Hansen's sexual advances, suggesting a potential motive for murder. However, Hansen was eventually cleared of suspicion. In their relentless pursuit of justice, the LAPD and other departments interviewed over 150 men they believed could be potential suspects. A total of 750 investigators worked on the case during its initial stages. Despite their efforts, no substantial evidence was found. City Councilman Lloyd G. Davis posted a $10,000 reward for information leading to Short's killer. In response, numerous individuals came forward with confessions, most of which were dismissed as false. Some of these false confessors were charged with obstruction of justice. The chilling story of the Black Dahlia continues to haunt and captivate, even decades after the horrifying murder. Despite exhaustive investigations, numerous suspects, and the mysterious letters and interviews, the identity of Elizabeth Short's killer remains unknown. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.